What's up, everybody? My name is Godzi, and welcome back to another episode of Umineko When They Cry Answers Arc. Last episode, Pirate Erika, Lambdadelta almost killed Bernkastel, and yeah, this is starting to feel very climactic, so I don't know how close we are to the end of the chapter, but this is like, well, what, the 16th or maybe 17th episode of, or part of Chapter 8, so I don't even know, but we'll certainly see. Either way, I don't really know what to say, so let's just get into this. Oh yeah, I did get a comment last episode saying, that this part's gonna be good. Ooh boy, I figured as much, but now I know it's really gonna be good, so let's get into it. Eva had broken the magic circle around the key beforehand after all. By the time Battler and Angie reached it, it was falling apart like the sand in an hourglass. They tried punching and kicking it to make it break faster, but nothing they did hastened the process. It looks like she broke it a while ago, but it'll probably take some time before it's gone. Just a bit longer, I think. If we could just buy time for 5 minutes. Judging by the speed the magic circles were crumbling and the general appearance of the whole scene, it looked like it would be over soon. However, right now, could even 5 minutes be considered soon? They turned around. Beyond the bookshelf ravine was a universe. Even for Battler, who had seen Beato's fights many times over. The battle between Lambdadelta and Bernkastel was so mind-defying that he couldn't think of a single word to describe it. When he finally managed to find a word, it was a universe. Each time a battle between Lambdadelta and Bernkastel unfolded, a universe was created between the pair of them. Big bangs would take place, universes would be created, galaxies beyond number would be born and erased. Then, just when it seemed that a big crunch had occurred and that the universe had met its demise, there would be another big bang and another universe would be created. It was like watching gods playing. And they're not even like the most powerful beings, they're just Voyager witches. There are things stronger than them. That's crazy. The two witches created and destroyed worlds over and over again, almost as though two creators were fighting to prove that their universe was the right one. If you let your guard down in the slightest, then just watching this would steal your soul. That's how it felt. Okay. When CGs collide. We'll be able to get the key back any second now. Then it'll be possible to go back to the Golden Land with the fragment Lambdadelta gave us, right? Go back as soon as you get the key. I can't leave Lambdadelta on her own. You're going to jump into that fight? I can't leave her on her own. What do you expect to do, Battler? Their fight may defy common sense. However, they're perfectly and evenly matched. So, if anyone jumps in, even a single weak human like me, something might break. A perfect balance maintained by two great powers can easily break by adding even a little strength to one side. However, actually rushing in there to add that little bit of strength would be literally suicidal. Like a moth flying into a furnace. It might burn up before it even reaches it. Once you get the key, go straight back to the Golden Land. We don't know how long they can hold out, remember? I can't go back alone. Not when everyone is fighting. That's right, this is your fight. So fight. I know you regret not dying with everyone else, but you've got to overcome that feeling and live in the future. That's what you decided to do, right? Angie had no words to respond with. Her brother and everyone else would probably die, so she wanted to die in the same place and at the same time as everyone else. However, that could not be allowed and she mustn't wish for it. She had already made up her mind. She had sworn to live in the future, without turning back to look at everyone's deaths. When you get back to the Golden Land, show the key to Beato. Beato will show you 2 doors. Then she'll give you an easy puzzle and tell you to open one of them. That's the last game on my game board. 2 doors. Of the 2, one will lead you to the future. Don't worry. I'm sure you won't choose the wrong one now. Also, once you go through it, don't turn back until the door closes. Why can't I turn back? When the door closes, you won't be able to see our fate anymore. In other words, we'll be shut inside the cat box. Fate inside a cat box has endless truths. That's right. We might have lost pathetically, or we might have made a miraculous comeback and survived. In other words, if you, the Witch of the Future, are sent into the future without witnessing the end of our conflict, we'll still have a chance at victory. However, if you keep on looking at us, you'll see when we get annihilated. That'll put the odds of our defeat at 100%. So to give us a miraculous victory, you must not turn back once you go through that door. Got it? Yeah. So I'll go and help Lambdadelta. If you go back to the Golden Land after seeing me walk off like a hero, that's how my story will end for you. The end of your battle will be sealed in the cat box, so you certainly won't lose. Exactly. So don't look back. You'll have the key soon. You've got to go back to the Golden Land like your life depends on it. So real quick, I have one message for the you of the future. Don't forget it, and engrave it into your heart. Okay. Okay. No matter what happens, never abandon the hopes that keep you alive. All of us are always behind you. If you just believe, we can even speak to you. Believe it! If one thing is certain, it's that miracles happen when you believe. At that moment, Lambdadelta and Bernkastel were wrapped in a massive explosion. Surely one of them had delivered a powerful blow. There were no further explosions, so that strike must have decided the match. When the smoke clears, who will be left standing? The magic circle sealing the key still needed several minutes to dissolve. Oh boy. Are you still there, my beloved Lambdadelta? All that came into sight was Bernkastel. Well, that's not good. There was no answering voice from Lambdadelta. If this was a sign of her victory, it did not cause Bernkastel's expression to grow any brighter. Too bad, Lambda. And I thought we'd be able to build a universe together. It's too bad. Really too bad. Bernkastel was still focusing all her nerves on the battle, so she took no notice of Battler and Angie by the key. However, she would probably notice soon, and then there would be nowhere to run. The last section of the magic circle was starting to fade away. However, almost cruelly, the final circle went slower than the rest. Seeing that, any hopes that it would dissolve in a minute, or maybe a few dozen seconds, were crushed absolutely. Battler readied himself. Well, this fight probably won't work out as well as the last one, but it looks like I'm up now. Battler! You're great, Angie. I'm proud that you didn't try to stop me. With tears still pouring down her face, Angie lovingly rubbed her cheek against the hand that had been patting her head. I've got to gather the kitties again. I thought Battler would be with her, but I don't see her for some reason. After all, one guy like him would be about as annoying as a pebble in my shoe. The smoke cleared completely, and they saw a huge cloud of candy bits floating around, like it was Lambdadelta's corpse. Jesus. A star-shaped cookie bounced off of Bernkastel's head. It was missing one of its points, giving it a lonely feeling. Lambdadelta, live with me. We'll become a single universe with you inside me. Bernkastel chewed the cookie and swallowed it. This way, we'll always be together. I love you, Lambda. I can only assume this is Lambdadelta speaking. Me too, Bern! Bernkastel's stomach suddenly swelled like a balloon. Oh, great. The bulge rose from her stomach to her throat, then exploded like a firework from her mouth. From Bernkastel's mouth spewed fireworks, sparks, fragments of candy. You really should fix those habits you've had since you were a cat. Here's a hint. If you find a piece of candy lying on the ground somewhere, don't pick it up and eat it. Hot! I lived, bitch! Yeah! Bernkastel doubled over even more, still spitting up an exploding firework. The birth of a small universe from that sweet had hit her directly from the inside of her stomach. Even Bernkastel couldn't withstand that. As Bernkastel repeatedly vomited fireworks so violently that it seemed her guts would spill out, her body flickered in and out of existence, and she glared at Lambdadelta with a terrifying expression. Her body was flickering because she had taken so much damage that even maintaining her form was now difficult. How slovenly, Burn. Your body's falling apart. Lambda. I sort of felt like losing for a bit, but I changed my mind. If I became a single universe with you, you wouldn't whisper to me of your love anymore. True. I'm not the type to give food to a fish I've already caught. I know. That's why you shine so beautifully. You lead someone on, but never actually dote on them, just like a proud queen of cats. I'll turn you into a cardboard box and make you my scratching post. And I'll make you a shamisen, whatever the fuck that is. Get bored after plucking one string, then put you in a cupboard and let the dust pile up on you. Oh, back to Boatland. The goat tsunami had swallowed up everything, but sea spray was still flying about. The reefs resisted the ocean that was trying to cover them, and were smashing waves left and right. The Seven Sisters of Purgatory and the Inquisitors of Heresy specialized in close-range combat, and were rapidly building a mountain of corpses. The witches fought hard too, but they would have preferred to fight at a distance if they could. Illusions alone wouldn't be enough. In these battle conditions, all of the humans were thrust right into the center of the fight. Everyone in the Ushiromiya family displayed a fighting spirit equal to the witches and guarded their backs. Even humans were not powerless. They have guns. There are more than 4 guns here, but whatever. I don't have a gun, what the shit? If the goats supported fantasy, they could use these as the ultimate anti-magic weapons. If the goats supported mystery, they could use these in a much more obvious way. Those .45 long Colt bullets delivered fatal wounds to each and every goat they struck. Just die already! How long are you going to resist? Give up and sink, Ushiromiya!
Telling an Ushiromiya to sink makes him fight all the harder. Little girl, you have no idea what the Ushiromiya family is.
You were dead even before 1986, weren't you? It's about time you stopped moving, Gramps. Erika's razor-sharp scythe buried itself in Kinzo's chest. It dug straight into his heart, but the daring smile on Kinzo's face didn't even falter.
Oh, was my death ever witnessed by anyone outside the cat box? I am indestructible. Indestructible!
A punch containing the entirety of Kinzo's last spark of life sent Erika flying.
Yeet! Kinzo punch!
Oh, Jesus. Father, are you okay?
Overcome my corpse! The Ushiromiya family never turns back!
As Erika tried to deliver the finishing blow, Kraus stepped in between them, blocking the way. I will be your opponent in Father's place. Oh? If it isn't the incompetent investing expert. It's pretty impressive how you managed to find all the worst bets, losing your money so quickly. And yet, even I remember to tie my shoes. Huh? Oh, damn. Erika tried to look down at her feet, but what she saw was Kraus's left fist. Kraus punch! Kraus's left uppercut made Erika float in the air. Not by magic, but by the simple laws of physics. For an instant, Erika saw the moon. Yeah, now I think about it, Kraus did, like, boxing or something, didn't he? Damn. Finally, I get to put it to good use! Maybe I was incompetent as an investor. However, any of my college friends will attest to my talent as a boxer. I will not allow you to discredit every part of the Ushiromiya family, little girl. You damn small fry!
Canon is an illusion created by a lonely Jessica.
At the school festival, I introduced canon to everyone. Saku and Hina, and everyone else. All of my friends can testify to that. Don't make assumptions about our relationship based on your own imagination. Huh. That's an interesting line from the goat, you know? It's like canon actually technically is an illusion, but at the same time partially real because he's a personality. Or whatever, a face. I don't even know if he's considered a personality, a face, just a role. He's something, that's for sure. Jessica's body blow made the goat's massive body cave in. Splendidly done, milady. To think that you could wield such power in a tight spot like this. Well, of course. After all, I'm thinking I don't really care if I die. This is the first time we've worked together with you at my back. Too bad it isn't cutting the cake. Jessica laughed embarrassedly. She looked even more relaxed than she had on stage at the school festival. We have plenty to cut here besides cake. You always try to sound so cool. But that's what I like about you. The massive bodies that rushed at them, trying to deny the relationship in their very existence, had two choices. Be sliced or be struck. Each time one of those bodies hit the floor, it became proof that the two of them existed. And then George and Shannon do the same thing.
Shannon is an illusion! George is an antisocial shut-in. Their love itself is an illusion and doesn't exist!
George, look out! Oh, that's zoomed in as shit. The goat's log-sized fist buried itself in George's face. This was the middle of a massive, confused battle. There was no way to dodge an unexpected attack like that. An antisocial shut-in, huh? Very well. Say what you wish about me. George had indeed been hit with a fist right to the center of his face. However, he didn't bend over backwards, not even an inch. The goat started to wonder what it was he had hit. His hand. Hadn't he punched a human made of flesh? It was as though he had slammed his fist into a steel wall, and it was his fist that was hurting. However, the goat was too scared to move his fist from George's face. After all, if he did, the expression on that face would probably be too terrifying. George pressed his hand against that fist. You probably could get testimony from my old classmates from school. Yes, I was an antisocial person. However, there's one more thing that they'll tell you. Something far more important. George was only grabbing the goat's massive fist in his tiny hand. However, that fist was being crushed as though it had a vice around it. Even though the other hand was tiny, the goat couldn't even move its fist. Ushiromiya George never fought for himself, no matter what happened to him. He was a coward who ran away from all threats. Everyone will tell you that. However, they won't tell you that he never got into a fight. I accepted the fact that someone as pathetic as me would be bullied. However, never have I let anyone provoke or challenge anyone who treated someone as pathetic as me like a friend. God damn, George. The goat's broken teeth flew through the air. George's furious feet split the heavens.
Shannon approached George for his money and...
A goat's filthy finger touched Shannon's back. That finger exploded and boiled away. My love for George is true and pure. George must have kept all the letters I wrote him. Read those and you'll have your proof.
You can write anything in a letter. The contents of a letter are no proof of true love.
A blazing red light charred the goat's entire body. Shannon slowly turned around, her face full of rage and contempt. Pitiful spectator, ignorant of love. You have no right to read a mystery, much less a person's heart. Disappear! An absolute barrier rose up around Shannon, burning up the goats around her with its flames. Oh, and then Maria. Yeah, maybe we are dead. That doesn't give anyone the right to criticize us. No one can deny the love Maria and Mama shared. Maria smiled, showing her teeth, and performed her job without even looking at her hands. Then she tossed the fully loaded rifle straight up into the air. Oh, that's quite the episode 2 callback. That's imposing as fuck. Come and get some. Rosa, who stood back to back with Maria, caught it without turning around. No, that wasn't all. Maria had passed the gun to her mother perfectly without even looking back. Rosa's head was pointed at the ground, as she stroked the frigid trigger with her index finger. If any of you doubt my love for my daughter, step forward. The crowd of goats, cowed by Rosa's ferocity, didn't get any closer to her. Then I'll deny it! Being the serial cheater you are, you were always off playing around with some man and leaving Maria all alone. Nothing like that is written anywhere in Maria's diary. You should know better than anyone else. Rosa didn't love you. She was a crappy mother, who regretted even giving birth to you! Oh boy. Erika was peering at the unfeeling moon, the taste of metal in her mouth. For a moment, she didn't realize what was happening. Was that cold feeling on her back the ground? Huh? Why am I lying down? And wasn't the moon full? Why isn't it now? Come to think of it, my teeth hurt. There's something cold and hard there. Then she figured it out. She was lying sprawled on the ground, with a gun barrel shoved into her mouth. And the thing splitting the moon was the angry king of wolves protecting its child. Wouldn't have expected fucking Rosa, of all people, to pin down Erika, but Rosa, yeah, she's probably one of the strongest people in the Ushiromiya family. Hell, magic aside. The gun barrel exploded inside her mouth, shattering her medulla oblongata. This is just a callback. But it was only her after image. Okay, fuck off. What a terrifying woman you are. Are you really human? Erika, who had escaped death at the last moment by leaving an after image, found a metallic flash right before her eyes, which had been there even before she reappeared. The fountain pen went right through Erika's eye, crushing it. I love this. This is a great callback. This is lovely. Rosa seriously is one of the better characters in this. Even though, like, episode 4 really painted her as a horrible, horrible, horrible person, she's honestly one of the coolest characters, in my opinion. Of course, that was another after image. However, when Erika escaped and reappeared somewhere else, a heel was already there waiting for her. From the goat's perspective, several after images of Rosa seemed to be appearing at once, all of which were pierced by Rosa at the same time. It's like some VV shit going on. You say that again, I'll have to get serious. Mama's really strong. What the hell? And so, Erika couldn't reappear anymore. At the very least, not within Rosa's range of attack. Erika put a lot of distance between her and Rosa, reappearing in midair. What are these people? What the hell? Erika's animal instincts made her turn her head slightly to the side just in time. Where her head used to be, there was an odd shower of sparks. It wasn't magic. It was a real physical phenomenon caused by lead smashing against lead. To think that two bullets shot from different angles could have flown with impossible precision at where her head once was, so that both of them hit and bounced off each other like billiard balls. Aw, so close.
Sorry about that. We're big fans of the whole take out the boss first strategy, you see.
Clay pigeons are a specialty. Flying along in a straight line probably isn't a good idea. The two of them spun their rifles in exactly the same way at exactly the same time, reloading them in a manner that put old westerns to shame. Then pointed them back at where Erika was in the sky. You monsters! Says you? Once again, their accurate shots plunged through the forehead of Erika's afterimage, bouncing off each other like billiard balls with a shower of sparks. This time, Erika appeared far behind them. She had to admit it. She had been forced to escape to a place outside the range of those guns fired by humans. Then, the light from the moon was blocked. The place she had fled to so rapidly exploded, sending chunks of rubbish flying. A massive longsword had been plunged into the ground. Delanner. It was Delanner's. Oh, now this is a fight I really want to see. Oh, if it isn't my old friend! She had dodged by a hair, but this bulky, brutal longsword was more of a cannonball, shaped like a sword than something for cutting with. Even though she dodged it, the blast of air pressure made her eardrums throb. Delanner was serious. She seriously intended to smash Erika to bits. What's with the scary face? Can't you try and act a bit, I don't know, cuter? Do you find this enjoyable? Destroying people's dreams and illusions? Of course it's enjoyable! What do you expect an intellectual rapist to do? You are an evildoer, and yet I used to believe you were the sort of evil worthy of sympathy. I never asked for your sympathy. Not cutting you down immediately upon our meeting. That sin of mine is what brought this day to pass. Delanner's hair bristled with rage. The sight this expression on one of her old friends pinned Erika to the spot. My friend, allow me to free you before you can suffer. I will not let you bear any further sins. Whoa, wait! The force of anger that welled from Delanner's whole body struck Erika. Or rather, the swirl of blasting wind from Delanner's massive longsword sent her flying. The cannonball with a blade repeatedly cracked the ground just after Erika leapt away. So it almost looked as though Erika was jumping backwards, smashing the earth beneath her with each jump. Delanner! Friend of mine, rest in peace! The great longsword split the air again, pulverizing the ground. However, this time, Erika was nowhere to be seen. Where did she escape to? Erika had broken the barrier of the Golden Land, landing on a ship whose I'd assume bow, whose bow was barely in sight. Practically speaking, she had run away. Fully aware of this, Erika howled, her face contorted with humiliation. Her shoulders heaved with her breathing, and she even forgot to fix her hair. The scythe fell from her hand and landed with a clank to the floor. That sound brought her back to her senses. Stupid goats! What are you standing around staring for? Open gun ports! Load concept negation explosive rounds! Disregard aiming procedures! Just fire! The warships that had flown into the Golden Land opened their gun ports one after another, and then they all fired at once in a scattered mess of cannonballs. The hundreds of explosive rounds they fired would negate the concept of anything or person they touched, smashing them into little bits and setting them ablaze with flames. The battlefield full of writhing goats became a fiery hell. Oh boy. Oh Jesus. A cannonball smashed the arbor. The once beautiful garden maze was burned down bit by bit, and the fleeing gold butterflies were wrapped in flames, burning into nothingness like little scraps of paper. This was no longer a battlefield where two sides fought for victory. It was just a confused, hellish pot of boiling water. The Golden Land was being torn apart. The once beautiful rose garden was filled with explosion craters, and its rose petals were scattered about without pity. There were flying bits of flesh, blood, fangs, jaws, shrieks, and half-crazed screams. And even amidst this hellish swirl, the goats and the dead continued to fight. As seen from atop the boats, this was hell without a doubt. All ships! Drop anchors! When Erika yelled, the goats on the boats ran around frantically. And one by one, massive anchors hanging by chains were thrown from the ship's bows down into the earth below. Those anchors smashed through not only the ground, but the bottom of the Golden Land itself, digging in with their wedge-shaped tips. Erika, who said this? Oh, Beatrice. Erika! Oh, Beatrice! This battle's so huge it had me worried. I thought I might not be able to find you before the whole thing ended. Beatrice landed on the front tip of the warship, facing off against Erika, who stood on the bow. You will not be forgiven. I'll finish you myself right here. Beato jabbed with her pipe. It transformed into a beautifully intricate golden longsword. Very well. That's just what I'd hoped for. Let's settle this. Erika threw her scythe up into the air. When it returned to her hand, it had become a sword similar to Bayato's. The nearby goats crowded around Erika, trying to support her. You stay out of this. All of you need to start lifting the anchors. Tear up the Golden Land by its roots. Aye, aye, sir. The goats bowed and rushed to their posts. Several dozen ships had lowered their anchors, digging into the base of the Golden Land. Soon they were going to try and pull them up, tearing the Golden Land to pieces.
Come, Erika! I'll give you the honor of my final duel.
Bayato raised her sword, bowed in the ancient fashion, and waited for her opponent. Erika kicked off her shoes violently, and slowly walked up to the tip of the boat barefoot. Then, in accordance with Bayato's rules, she bowed back. It was a duel on the prow of a ship that pierced the sky. Below, the crowd of goats was being blasted away by the indiscriminate cannonballs, burned up and crushed into panorama of this world's end. By now, it would be stupid to wonder whether anyone from the Ushiromiya family was still alright. Yes, it truly was the end of this world. The end of the Golden Land. Ground to dust filled with flames. The Golden Rose Garden was burning spectacularly, with bits of fire and golden splashes flying about. The ground creaked as fissures ran through it, through to the base of the Golden Land. All of the ships started pulling up their anchors at once. Crowds of mighty goats used all of their monstrous strength to lift them. The anchors that dug into the Golden Land's base spread cracks throughout the entire Golden Land. Not just the ground, but the air itself was filled with cracks, and shards of gold fell down everywhere. The Golden Land's end was adorned with the flames of hell and streaking gold fragments, with fiery red and ephemeral gold. Atop the boat's prow, Bayato and Erika looked down on this, their swords crossed and sparks flying between them. Now there's one hell of a sight to see! Don't you think it's fitting? The perfect final chapter for your tale!
The Golden Land may meet its end. I may perish as well. However, no one can erase the fact that we were here. Angie reached the answer. The Witch of the Future has a mission and hope, and will soon set off on a new journey. We have already succeeded. Too bad for you, Furudo Erika. This battle ends with our victory!
This was a duel between the master of the illusion called the Golden Land, and the witch who controlled truth. The earth split behind them. The Golden Land was torn up. The cat box known as the Golden Land was ripped apart, and the nothingness below peeked out through the cracks. The scrambling crowd of goats fell through the gaps and were swallowed by the sea of nothingness. Bayato's friends were among them. They helped each other, lent a hand to each other, unwilling to sacrifice anyone until the final moment. Still, what a romantic and fragile illusion is the end of the world. The ground shattered and sank. It fell apart into the ocean of nothingness. None could survive, none could be saved. This was destruction. As the comrades in arms fell into the sea of nothingness, they looked up one last time and prayed. They prayed that the master of the Golden Land would leave proof that the Golden Land had indeed existed. However, Bayato didn't look down on them. They wouldn't have wanted her to.
This is our Golden Land! I am the golden and endless... Wait, other way around, I'm the endless and golden witch Beatrice, and I am here! We may fall, but we will not be defeated. You shall become living proof. I'll carve the proof of our existence into your chest.
So long, Beatrice. This marks the end of that stupid endless game. Fall into hell, you illusion. Oh boy. Back to the City of Books then? Yep. Lambdadelta and Bernkastel's fight to the death had passed through its phase as a dynamic clash of fireworks. It was now a clash that was quiet and motionless. These two witches, who possessed power on an entirely different level, may have been truly equal in strength. The battle could only be resolved by mutual consent if one of them lost interest or found some reason for wanting to lose. Since both were putting their all into the fight without yielding a bit, they were absolutely and completely equal. Lambdadelta, I'm glad to have you as a friend. Damn it, just a bit longer! Just fall apart already, stupid magic circle! Battler got irritated and punched the magic circle, but there was nothing he could do except continue to watch over it. After all, the only way to dissolve it was by waiting. However, the pair of them still felt relief, if only a little. Lambdadelta really was strong. Even in a battle this spectacular, she fought on an even footing. No, if you considered how confident each side looked, she seemed to have a slight advantage in Battler's eyes. She would probably manage to buy them enough time, and she would take the key and return to the Golden Land. They just had to endure a bit longer. However, they had no way of knowing what Lambdadelta's fate would be after this. She had disobeyed the Senate, the highest level witches in existence. Something brutal probably awaited her. However, even knowing this, Angie had to step forward into the future, without looking back. That was the single duty given to her, the Witch of the Future. Battler, what's that? Something's coming towards us from a long way away. Crap. Are they enemy reinforcements? Lambdadelta and Bernkastel were glaring at each other, so they didn't notice. No shit. Heading towards them from the distance were several emerald green glints. That light proved that they were enemies. But there's only a few of them. They won't be a match for Lambdadelta. All of the cats so far seemed like fish in a school, giving the impression that they'd be terrifying as a group, but not much of a problem by themselves. However, there was something different about the lights approaching them now. They were approaching in a beautiful, ordered formation like a constellation. Battler quickly realized that this was something new. Oh no. Featherin. My Miko, isn't it about time to prepare the key? Just by her tone, Battler was able to tell how great a witch this was. The black cats that surrounded her in a graceful and systematic constellation were all wearing large capes with elegant designs. It looked as though great overlords from many worlds had been transformed into cats, leaving only their capes untouched. What Battler imagined was quite true. That was exactly what had happened. These were the overlords from many worlds that formed Featherin's personal guard. Their bodies took the form of cats merely as a sign of respect to their master, who took the form of a human. These were entirely different from the pack of wild cats that served Bernkastel. Aurora. Oh, is it that time already? When holding a party, it's important to keep your guests waiting for a fitting amount of time. It is, however, not something I am particularly fond of. As she said this, her eyes flicked to Lambdadelta. The latter bowed hurriedly. The Lambdadelta grinned. She was also sweating, her brow furrowed with tension. How long has it been, Lady Lambdadelta? It's a pleasure to see you, great Lady Aurora. This is no place to entertain one of your position. Did you get lost on the way to the party? If so, allow me to guide you there myself. That would be an honor, great Lady Aurora. Featherin Augustus Aurora, the legendary Great Witch. It is said that she surpassed the level of witches, becoming a creator, and that upon reaching this forbidden plane, she was cursed with a deadly ailment. However, in life, she once turned her pet cat into a witch. They say that this second witch wanders the Sea of Fragments endlessly, searching for any fragment that can revive her master from the pits of death called boredom, if only for a moment. And so, the cat revived her master. Revived the sacred witch who had reached heights none should reach. Just as witches look down at and mock humans from a higher world, calling them pieces on a game board. So she looks down at and mocks the realm of witches from an even higher world, calling them pieces on a game board. If a witch's strength is measured by the height of the world they are capable of reaching, then she was like a witch. Then she was like a witch come back from the realm of the gods, one who had touched the highest forbidden heights and survived. Was there any chance of winning against her? No. Lambdadelta was unable to choose either victory or defeat by her own will.
My Miko, would you mind playing with your friends some other time and getting back to work now? Prepare the key.
Okay.
The simple, naive way cats forget their errand part way is their true charm. Don't you think so, Lady Lambdadelta?
Lambdadelta didn't say anything, but hung her head low. From this position, it seemed that the key's seal would dissolve at any second. However, Bernkastel would probably find Battler and Angie before that. Once they got their hands on the key, they could leave this place immediately. Of course, this was assuming that they did so before Bernkastel and Featherin found them. Bernkastel mustn't be allowed to move from this spot.
Looks like game over, Lambda. I am the Miko, the Great Witch Aurora. You haven't forgotten that the Witch of Theater-going bestows her protection upon her reader Mikos, have you?
Lambdadelta still stood slumped over, without answering. The Witch of Theater-going gave protection to her reader Mikos. If Lambdadelta attacked Bernkastel, who was Aurora's Miko, then the Great Witch Aurora would follow her contract, prevent what she considered an attack against herself, and respond accordingly. So is that only for a current Miko, or all former Mikos too? In which case Angie would have that protection, right?
Let's make a deal.
What kind of deal?
Where is Battler hiding? If you come clean, we'll let all of this slide.
Or is that Bernkastel saying this? Is the Witch of Miracles afraid of a tiny little piece like Battler?
It's because I'm the Witch of Miracles. I'll never forget that even a little pebble like him is capable of creating a miracle.
After all, there's a little pebble who got super promoted into a Witch of Miracles.
I'll ask one more time. Where's Battler? Too bad, Lambda. Looks like that's your answer.
Bernkastel turned her back on Lambdadelta. Then she told her master that she was leaving to prepare the key, and she started swimming towards the key room. If I let her go any further, she'll find Battler and Angie. Battler readied himself. This time it was his turn to become a sacrifice. Even though he was nothing more than a single pebble, he could still put out an eye. Oh boy. A candy firework exploded right in front of Bernkastel.
Lambda, you really are a moron.
Lambdadelta. Now I've done it. Battler, Angie, the rest is up to you! Oh, what the fuck? The cat overlords changed their formation, becoming a ferocious constellation that surrounded Featherin. Then, each drew the most terrifying of magic circles from their respective worlds and began to chant.
I am slightly confused, both by you, my Miko, and Lady Lambdadelta. What sort of sideshow is this? Looks like Lambda wants to stop me from going to get the key. Oh, and what would be the point of that, I wonder?
If you still don't get the point, then you must be getting a bit tipsy, Featherin. Looks like you need a pick-me-up. Lambdadelta bluffed as well as she could. Her fingertips were shaking slightly.
An attack against a Miko is considered to be an attack against her master. You should know this as well as anyone, correct?
I know it. Going by that rule, looks like the two of us are gonna have to fight.
Oh, have I or my Miko caused insult in any way? If so, then please accept my apologies. But could you tell me one thing? I didn't think you had a Miko at the moment. How long have you had one?
As for that, I've got a ton of them already. 30 or 40, I think. Maybe even more. I, Lambdadelta, will handle any fight picked against one of my Mikos, no matter who the opponent is. All of them are certain that a happy ending will come. Oh, yeah. I was like, 30 or 40? Yeah, fucking... like every other character in this game. Except for Featherin and Bernkastel and Erika. As the Witch of Certainty, I can't abandon people who work hard and believe with certainty like that.
I can't say I dislike this tale of yours. It would be worthy of my viewing. However, I'm not a spectator at the moment, but a performer. I know that you are my Miko's close friend, so I will give you one warning. Remove yourself from the stage. I will prepare a special seat for you in my audience seating.
I don't know which one is speaking.
I've been thinking about which is more interesting, your tale or the one I've been watching.
And your conclusion? Wait. Oh, that was the other way around. Battler's tale is 100 times better. Sorry, but I'll be getting Best Supporting Actress this year. Hey, you guys! You better vote for me in the last character popularity contest, okay? At least get me in the top 5, got it? The fourth wall of my room is gone again. What the fuck? Who are you talking to? As Lambdadelta pretended to joke around, she calmly focused on the one weak point she could see. If she had a chance for a single attack, then a 1 in a billion shot at victory existed. It was that horseshoe-shaped memory device floating around Featherin's head. Without that, she couldn't preserve her own existence. Destroying it was impossible, but if Lambdadelta could just jar it enough, she might be able to make it bug out. At least once in the past, Featherin's memory device had been damaged, and her personality and appearance had changed. However, she was aware of that herself, and probably wouldn't let that happen again no matter what. Very well, Lady Lambdadelta. When you finish your script, feel free to send it in whenever you wish. The script is simple, just one line. The fantastic cute Lambdadelta took out the evil mastermind Aurora in a single shot! Foolish Lambda. I never realized how stupid you were. The cats need not interfere. I will personally reward Lady Lambdadelta for the courageous tale she has submitted. You will be granted a fitting tale and a fitting ending for your bravery. Featherin Augustus, Aurora! Lambdadelta summoned magical power from her whole body and raised it in a mass above her head. Forgive me, but... Oh, what the... Then the world's time stopped. Zawardo! Your script will not be used. After all... Rather than time stopping, it was more like the flipping pages of a book had stopped. In this motionless world, closely packed letters appeared. The one writing the rest of the script is me. It was a tale that had been written up to this very moment. I don't know who's talking. Featherin Augustus Aurora. Lambdadelta summoned magical power from her whole body and raised it in a mass above her head. That was where the paragraph ended. In this frozen world, Featherin sat with her arms crossed. Jesus Christ. That's imposing. How troublesome. It's been so long since I've written a fight scene. How annoying to have to suddenly write up a development like this out of the blue. When I get stuck writing, I try to write in reverse. In other words, instead of starting at the beginning, I start at the end and go backwards from there. Ah. That way it's easier to set up foreshadowing, and I can write the story with my vision for the end in mind. The only downside is that I have to suddenly start at the climax without setting up the story first. In the meantime, I'll start at the end of the fight and go back from there, Lady Lambdadelta. This is where you lose to me and die. As Featherin said this, words were added to the massive group of letters that filled the frozen world. However, she was starting from the end, so there was a large gap between the new words and the old ones. So how will you lose to me? You should probably have a heroic end to suit your bravery. How about this? Lambdadelta gets blasted away by something slammed against the bookshelf, and her limbs are snapped off as she dies and disappears into the darkness below. Yes, quite a flashy way to go. Good. For now, that's how your final moments will be. The blanks in the outline Featherin spoke of were being filled up. At the same time, Lambdadelta's figure was wiped out. After crossing her arms and thinking again, Featherin pointed in a random direction. Lambdadelta appeared, blasted away by something, and swam spread-eagled against the bookshelf Featherin had pointed at. Well, now I must write up the fierce battle that leads to this end. But as you can probably tell, I'm a little tipsy at the moment. I'll fill that part in later, when I have some time to go over it nice and slowly. For now, let me off with this. I promise to add in a heroic fight to your liking later on. Featherin snapped her fingers. Lambdadelta had no idea what was going on. Before she could even blink, she was suddenly here, being slammed against a bookshelf. What is this? Jesus, she couldn't comprehend the something that Featherin had killed her with. However, that was only natural. After all, Featherin herself hadn't decided what the something was. However, Lambdadelta did understand one thing. She was already dead. Streams of blood dripped from the corners of her mouth. Then, lines of blood appeared on her wrists and ankles, her elbows and knees. She looked like a marionette doll of herself. What killed me.
Precisely, Lady Lambdadelta. Let me know if you have any good ideas.
Okay, that's fucked up. You monster.
Still pinned against the bookshelf, Lambdadelta let her head slump. Her wrists, ankles, legs, arms, and neck each split into a separate part, and the marionette shaped like her lost its strings, falling in pieces into the depths below. Is this the first time someone actually dies in Umineko? Nothing remained. It was all swallowed up by the darkness beneath them. A monster, she says. Quite a compliment for one such as I.
Lambdadelta.
Angie, don't look. You can't look! Shedding frustrated tears, Angie closed her eyes tight. She must not look. The Witch of the Future must not accept Lambdadelta's defeat. She hasn't kicked it yet. She was brave, and that's all we need to know.
I know Lambdadelta would never lose.
Pop. At that moment, there was a slight sound, and the golden key that hung in the air shook. The seal had finally broken. Oh, hell yeah. Battler grabbed at it immediately. However, at exactly the same moment, a magical tremor spread throughout the vast key room. What? That tremor seemed to have shaken something inside my pocket. I stuck my hand in, and found that the fragment Lambdadelta had given to us to return to the Golden Land had shattered. Uh-oh. Damn it. Lambda's fragment is... Uh-oh.
You were so close, too. Now, there's nowhere to run.
Bernkastel.
If Lambda had been a little cleverer, she could have probably bought you 5 more seconds. Then you would have taken that key and escaped to the Golden Land. Looks like the Miko suffers too when their master's a fool.
Oh. Feathering quietly showed her surprise. To truly surprise her was no easy task. Oh, fuck yeah! This is what I wanted to see! The Witch of Miracles, who boasted that no one could even step on her shadow unless she wished it, fell. Go Battler! After taking Battler's right fist to her face, she fell. Bernkastel's body immediately split into dust and reconstructed itself in front of Battler, as though nothing had happened. However, she was holding her cheek. She couldn't undo the fact that she had been hit. For the first time in 100 years, she had let someone tread on her shadow without her consent. Her face was gradually filled with shock, and Battler's, it couldn't be seen. His outstretched right arm was blocking it, so his expression couldn't be seen. What? Take it back. Take what back? She didn't let the next strike hit her. Bernkastel vanished like mist, then reappeared a short distance away. However, Battler only missed by a hair's breadth. Not because she had intentionally made that happen, but for real.
It hurts, it hurts, it hurts.
Finally, she truly began to feel the pain of being punched in the face. Yeah, that looked like it was fucking hurt. For too many years, she had forgotten the very concept of pain. Very slowly, it was coming back to her.
It hurts! It hurts, it hurts, it hurts. Ah!
Bernkastel writhed in anguish, holding her cheek. That feeling, forgotten for centuries, seemed to be hitting home hard. Battler looked at her. Their eyes met. Once again, Bernkastel remembered the emotion she had forgotten for hundreds of years. Does it hurt? The pain you caused by ridiculing my friend is greater than that. And then she shuddered. What Battler saw before his eyes was Bernkastel shuddering for the first time in centuries. To Bernkastel's eyes, it hadn't even looked like Battler rushing at her and punching. It was as though she had been sucked towards where he stood with his furious fist raised. When her eyes had opened wide in terror, Battler's massive fist had been all that she could see. Of course, he wasn't capable of hitting her. Bernkastel was just like a shadow. She dodged by moving instantly and leaving an afterimage.
But mere teleportation wasn't enough to escape from Battler's furious pursuit. True, trying to hit Burn was like enviously trying to hit the reflection of the moon on water with a stone. No matter how often you hit it, you can never smash the moon's reflection. However, Battler hit it, and again, over and over, to prevent the moon from showing on the water's surface again. A fiercely thrown pebble sent ripples across the water's surface. It broke through the moon's reflection, broke through the water's surface itself, leaving even the bottom of the pond bare, breaking through everything. His certain willpower broke through to a miracle. Jesus. A backwards kick that Battler shot out without even looking behind him, split through empty space. In that space, Bernkastel reappeared with a foot in her gut. Fucking reads, man! Take back your insults against our brave friend. The Witch of Miracles fell. For the second time, she fell. Once it would have been a miracle. Things that happen more than once aren't miracles anymore. Bernkastel understood. Battler was capable of hitting her. Then she fell, was slammed against the floor, got up on her hands and knees, and vomited. She threw up violently over and over. Her face was covered with pain and vomit and tears and snot. Then she looked up at Battler with a furious expression and howled. And she wasn't howling at Battler. Aurora! Your Miko is getting beaten up! What are you standing around watching for? Take him out!
Forgive me, but I am busy writing Lady Lambdadelta's final moments right now. I cannot come to your aid. Why don't you all give her a hand?
Featherin's guard, the cat overlords, now formed a different constellation. Then each drew a magic circle and began chanting. You know what? Each one of these cats is the final form of a main character, each from a game like yours. Everyone acted the main part in their heroic tale, and the story of their bravery was given honor, allowing them to become Aurora's guards. Each one fought for the very existence of their country, their planet, their universe. What about you? At best, you've just been playing around with your little sister and some imaginary witch. These main characters are on a totally different level from you. Eat this and die. Take it to the gut, scum. Okay. That's a lot of colors. Red and green. Power! There are many spectacular magical spells depicted the beginning of a universe, the creation of planets, their destruction, and the universe's end all in an instant. After that, not a speck of dust should have remained. However, when the smoke cleared, there was a person standing there. It stood there with its hands in its pockets and its head hanging quietly. Its face was in the shadows and couldn't be seen. Battler? What the hell? Battler seemed to be completely uninjured. Not only were his clothes not burnt, but his hair hadn't even been disturbed. What the hell? Stupid cats! That didn't work at all! The cat overlords silently shook their heads, sending a short report to their master. Endless 9. What did you say? It seems that no one can interfere with their tale. Forgive me, my Miko. It would appear that the cats have reached their limit. And you call yourselves overlords of many worlds? Weren't you all once main characters on different game boards? And this is the best you can do? You're pathetic! The cats knew, from the very beginning. They had known that they wouldn't be able to do anything with him as the main character of this game board. My Miko, creating a tale on the game board is a privilege granted only to the game master. That has already been established, so I must respect this rule, being the mere writer that I am. I shall return to my position as spectator. You useless master! Battler, I apologize for the insults your friend suffered at the hands of my Miko. And I see that the right to weave your game belongs to you, the game master. You shall weave your own game. That is as it should be. However, my Miko is now a game master in your game.
It seems the two of you opened the game board at the same time. It is rare to have two masters for a single game, but this miracle pleases me. After all, I can rest assured that this will make for a proper final game for you both.
Stand up, Bernkastel.
I see. So you're saying that if two game masters are going to fight, you have to do it by the rules of the game. Why didn't you just say that in the first place?
Bernkastel slowly got to her feet and made her body melt away like mist. Then she appeared in the air once again, facing Battler.
Very well. I'll fight by the rules of your game board. However, I'm not as easygoing as you all are. So I'll start with a short-tempered, overwhelming puzzle and end this in an instant. Who will be my opponent? I don't mind if you both take me on at once. Power, I'll fight too.
Stay back.
Why?
Watch from there, and this time understand what I wanted to teach you.
Battler! Are you happy with this, Aurora? I shall be your witness. If you defeat my Miko, I promise to return you all to the Golden Land. Assuming the Golden Land still exists, that is.
I believe in them.
That's right. Pato and all the others won't lose.
Ha ha ha! I don't know who's talking. In that case, we'd better start with the bad news. Oh, wait.
In that case, we'd better start with the bad news. Erika, you can make your report now. Come!
When Bernkastel snapped her fingers, Erika appeared with a bow. Oh boy.
Pardon me for the interruption, my master. Sorry, Erika. How inconsiderate of me to keep you waiting when you came bearing good news.
No problem. Rejoice, my master. I have come to inform you of the complete destruction of the Golden Land.
Higher!
The Golden Land has been totally destroyed. I'm here to report that it's collapsed and fallen into the sea of nothingness. Doubt. Not just the humans, but the illusions as well have been completely annihilated.
Higher? I won't believe it.
Then allow me to make you believe it. Take this, my master. Erika humbly presented an object wrapped in cloth. It shone with a golden light.
What's this? A golden apple?
It gives you regeneration.
That's the wrong game, but alright.
This is the heart of Beatrice, master of the Golden Land. Doubt.
Pato!
Bernkastel pinched it between two fingers, held it aloft, and gazed at it.
Even like this, it's still beating. You're so cute, Beatrice. The game board that you are might be opened again by someone. You still believe that, don't you? It's okay, Battler. We didn't see Bato get defeated. This is some sort of trick they're using on us. A trick to make us lose our morale. Or maybe it's a trick of Bato's. She changed herself to pretend that she's been defeated. There's no way that Beatrice, that the Golden Land can be destroyed. That's true. If the Witch of the Future believes that, you might be able to make it so. So, let me show you. Look closely, Witch of the Future from 1998.
Bernkastel threw the golden heart into the air like an apple. Then with the blood-red blade of the scythe that appeared in her hand, she split it. Oh boy. Motorcycle gunman, this isn't the time.
Beatrice died in October of 1986. Therefore, the Golden Land she created was completely destroyed. Your family that was kept alive in the Golden Land was destroyed along with it. Your father, mother, and of course Battler will never return to you again, and will never speak your name again. The Witch of the Future has the power to interpret things how she pleases and overwrite what happened. However, there is just one fact that she can't overwrite no matter how much she struggles.
It doesn't mean Battler isn't alive, it just says that he won't come back to her.
And that is death. You cannot overcome any concept of death, be it physical or mental. It is a single blade of truth with which witches of the past can strike down witches of the future.
Hang in there, Angie.
But...
You decided to accept it, didn't you? You decided to live on even if no one came back alive, didn't you?
I know, but...
Even so, a tiny sliver of hope had remained inside Angie's heart. Despite everything, if she was favored by some miracle, Maybe someone would come home after all. It doesn't matter when. It could be 10 years later or 50 years later. It doesn't even matter if they've forgotten my face. I believe that someone might come back someday. And I decided to live with that tiny hope in my heart. Even though I accepted everyone's death, even though I saw it in the Book of the Single Truth, I still thought that it wouldn't be so bad to believe in a miracle just a little. A miracle you believe in, even though you know it won't happen, is hope. So, the witch who knew that miracles don't occur had ruthlessly torn that hope away. Don't cry. I know, but... Even the big brother you're crying to right now is already dead. Power isn't dead, he's here! Right here! Don't cry, Angie. But... Don't cry! At Battler's shout, Angie bit back her tears. Why does it matter? What did we of the past mean to you living in the future? Angie, what sort of witch were you? Huh? Whether we're alive or dead means nothing to you. That's not true. I want you to live! That's not it! You can go beyond life and death, right? Angie didn't understand what he was telling her. So stunned into silence, she frantically considered what her brother might be trying to say. Battler slowly lifted his face and stared at Bernkastel. And you aren't a witch. You're a reaper. That's right. I have the sickle that reaps all hope and miracles. So I must be what you say. You're a reaper who stole away the hope that kept Angie alive, and lured her towards death. You're the one who threw about truths of the past, stealing the future from Angie's eyes and forcing her to look only at the past. And you're the one who thrust the hope-crushing single truth in front of her, gently pushing from behind as she, of her own accord, took that step from the skyscraper's roof off into the world of nothingness. But now, I'll free Angie from the spell that you represent. Angie won't be trapped by the curse of the past anymore. She'll step forward into the future, but not to the emptiness of the abyss that you're trying to lure her into. Angie will live strong in the future starting in 1998. Humans are wretched creatures who walk into the future while staring back into the past. That's why they easily plummet into pitfalls and flip over like comical fools. Come, Bernkastel. A witch of the past like you can't block the radiance of the future. Yes, let's go. Let's follow the rules of your game. I'll give you some closed room riddles. But since I'm short-tempered, heavy-handed, and easily bored, I'll give you all of them at once. Oh, Jesus. Bernkastel spread her hands, and it seemed as though a halo or angel wings were spreading out behind her. Each of the countless rays that spread out from her were the blue streaks of closed room mystery blades. Bernkastel, who had traveled the Sea of Fragments for many, many years, had gathered these countless closed room mysteries as souvenirs from all over the place. All of those rays twisted at once and aimed towards Battler. It was as though infinite giant snakes had turned their heads to stare at him. If you fail to shoot down even a single puzzle, then this is goodbye. I'm not as forgiving as Beata, who gave you until October 5th at midnight to give your answer. If you don't answer immediately, you'll die. In other words, this was no mystery. This wasn't an intellectual game, but a merciless assault. Die. Oh, Jesus. All at once, hundreds of guided lasers known as mysteries shot at Battler. The complex geometric figure drawn by those blue lasers was nothing but divinely beautiful. Each one was a mystery. Trying to solve each one in this oppressive hailstorm would be like threading a storm of approaching needles. Battler flew freely through this vast space, dodging the beautiful blue streaks of mystery as he shot them down one after another. The entirety of the mystery knowledge he had built up before this day told him the answer to each puzzle. Each time his eyes glowed with the answer, one of the mysteries shattered. However, each mystery was only one out of hundreds. This hardly rose to the level of opposition or resistance. Battler, it's impossible! Run! There is no unsolvable mystery, just like there is no inescapable fate. Battler! Watch, Angie. Don't miss what I'm trying to show you. By now, the bundle of mysteries looked like one giant snake with blue streaming behind it. Battler skillfully dodged it, precisely splitting its many fangs off one by one. Even though he knew his resistance was useless, like trying to pick up all the grains of sand on a beach one by one. Not bad. Classic mysteries were your specialty, right? So what about twists on the genre? Let's see if you can handle more and more mysteries from all times and places. Even though Battler was still fighting the giant snake, wings appeared behind Bern once more. And they gave birth to 7 more huge snakes. Now looked like a great dragon with 7 heads. Ushiromiya Battler, it's true that you're a very avid reader and an expert on the mystery genre, but you're still young. There's a limit to how many books and mysteries you could have read. Learn that this world is filled with countless riddles and tricks that you've never heard of. Battler! You can't do this anymore! Please just run away! You can't beat Bernkastel! Battler's expression remained calm. However, his whole body was covered with sweat and he was breathing hard. It was clear that he couldn't overcome this onslaught, though Battler himself refused to admit it. Battler wiped away his sweat and fixed his gaze on the 8 snake heads that surrounded him in 3 dimensions. Anchi, you believed that someone from your family would come back someday. Lived that way for 12 years, and then lost your spirit. For a time, you surrendered to the miracle that refused to happen. That's... In that case, if I want to see you off as you try and step forward into the future, I mustn't surrender to a miracle myself. That's right. But I'll still harvest your miracles and hopes. All of them, without mercy. What was now an 8-headed dragon opened its 8 jaws. It looked for weak points from all angles, hoping to swallow Battler in a single gulp. He wouldn't be able to dodge any longer. Angie, if you're expecting a miracle, then I have some bad news for you. Beato has now been completely destroyed, and it's even been announced in red. Do you know what that means? Since Beato has been destroyed, the Golden Land has been destroyed as well. That means that everyone has vanished. In other words, you no longer have any friends who can conveniently show up and save you from this pinch. But she do! Beato has been destroyed, and that's been confirmed in red. Therefore, no one else could come to rescue them. Even Eva was a resident of the Golden Land. Never mind! After bravely breaking the key's seal earlier on, she had probably hidden away somewhere. However, now that Beato had been destroyed, all of the residents of the Golden Land had met the same fate as ice under the sun. Any faint hopes Angie might have had that Eva was hiding in the shadows, ready to save them from this final pinch, had been completely crushed from the moment Bernkastel smashed that golden heart. There was no one left to save them from this crisis. She couldn't hope for the appearance of any new factor that might save her brother. And what about Angie herself? She could only watch from where she stood. If I help, will I be able to bring about some kind of miracle? But I don't know that much about the mystery genre. I've only watched Beato's game fragments, gathering some basic training on how to fight. At best I can avoid slowing him down, but I can't protect my brother. But I can't just watch. Battler! Let me fight too! Stay back! Just keep watching, and think. Think about what? Go back to how you felt at the very beginning. Back when you were 6 years old, when it all started. How I felt when I was 6. You've lived for 12 years looking for the truth, but that's not your real greatest wish. My greatest wish? We prepared this final game to protect that wish, and that hope. Unfortunately, you've wasted that chance. So you'll have to abandon that hope as you step forward into the future. But even so, if there's strength in your heart, you can still have it. Have what? Remember, your very first wish. Even after learning the single truth, remember, the single truth. Even after learning the heartless truth that everyone is dead and no one will come home, remember. Remember your very first wish. Battler! There was a cataclysmic flash as brilliant as the birth of a sun. Dell update. Get out of here. All of the palely glowing snakes ran through Battler. He was stained red, surrounded with a cloud of blood. Then he stumbled, and in the end he looked at Angie. Angie couldn't say anything in response, but Battler said, "Dog bark." The light in Battler's eyes faded, and slowly, his body began to fall. It reached the ground, and gently landed like something settling on the ocean floor. Angie rushed toward him, and saw the last expression that would ever cross her dead brother's face. His eyes were opened wide, filled with an unwavering determination until the very last second.
Man, this kid's pretty good.
Can we get out of here yet, Sans?
Yeah, fine, whatever. This is boring anyways. Just kidding, it's actually cool.
Sans! Whatever, I'm gonna go make some spaghetti. Don't burn it this time. Can't make a promise! Was Angie ever that good at mysteries? She's nothing compared to Battler. The waving snakes raised their heads and surrounded Angie. Angie had no blades to fight with. She could only cling to her brother's dead face, saying his name over and over. I'm dead. This is a surprisingly boring ending. I guess that's checkmate. Featherin? The 8 snakeheads all attacked at once. Angie held her brother's dead face, thinking about his final words.